Hi again, everybody. This video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's their story. Greetings, Ollie. Congratulations on reaching 10,000 subscribers, and thank you for being a cornerstone of the narc abuse recovery community, for how much you've helped thousands of people. This is my first time writing you. I just made a contribution. However, I don't think this could become a video of any kind. I wouldn't see how it would fit, how it would even be ethical to do so. But if you felt this would be helpful to other viewers in some way and there is a way to convey a helpful message ethically, then it can become a video. That would be up to you. I'm thinking this is more of a personal issue I am having, that I may be blowing out of proportion and allowing to make me more anxious than it should. I am unsure hearing this story would be beneficial to anyone else. Still, I would very much appreciate any advice you may have. This is something that happened the first week in July, and to be honest, I am still very upset about. I'm still trying to come to terms with it, I guess. I was thinking it would help me share this with someone and get some advice. I wouldn't have anyone else to share this with who knows about narcissism and consider it objectively. This might just be a silly Facebook spat. All right, you've gone on for 4 or 5 paragraphs invalidating what you're already about to tell me. So, like, that's already something in your personality that you're already invalidating yourself before you even get to the point. This might be just a silly Facebook spat, and I might feel ridiculous down the road for even sharing it with anyone. I realize you've devoted hundreds of videos to discussing serious cases of child abuse and dysfunctional families. I myself have been wanting to submit my life story for quite some time and may do so soon. I was going to submit my life story around this time, but Facebook issue has been weighing a lot on me lately. I keep getting reminded of it and continue to be angry about it after all this time, so I figured I'd get it out sooner than later. I've attached a screenshot of the Facebook post that started it all. It was made by a man whom I will as much respect as I can muster, called Bullshit Artist, and have written on my timeline. I'll call him BSA for short. I met BSA 16 years ago, although I have not been keeping track of the time myself. He admits that he met me 16 years ago in another Facebook post, so I'll assume he's right, at least about that. We met in an online group for people who are into theater. I am 36 now, so I would have been 20 at the time BSA and I met. We've never met in person. He lives in the Pacific Northwest. I live in the Southwest, for reasons that, in retrospect, I feel are clear to me now. I made an effort to stay in touch with BSA. We kept in touch through email. When I joined Facebook in 2009, I looked him up and added him. Again, I think I know why I kept in touch with BSA, even thought very highly of him before the nasty Facebook post he left on my timeline. My mother is a covert narc. My father was definitely more overt in his abuse. I have one sibling, a brother who was mom's golden child, and also an overt raging narc. I've struggled with being codependent. I'm fortunate to never have had a romantic relationship with a narc, but I've had many friendships with them. In one of your videos, Ollie, you said that in our relationships with narc, that it helps to go back and remember how the narc came into our life. And to remember if we pursued the narc or if the narc pursued us. You said that the majority of the time the narc would have pursued us. I am paraphrasing here, of course, but I remember watching that video and it was like a light bulb went off in my head. I must be in the minority of people who actually pursue the narc. It's been like that in all my friendships with narcs. And I remain friends with these assholes until the day they pull the classic narcissistic discard. I think this is how things played out with the Bullshit Artist, which is probably why I feel so angry about the situation. I found out about narcissism when I was 26. I'm still learning about narcissism, of course, as the nasty Facebook post can attest to. In the 10 years since discovering narcissism, I've been trying to get narcs out of my life and work on my codependence. BSA flew under my radar, so to speak, I think for a variety of reasons. I never met him in person. It's easy to pretend to be someone you're not online. I thought so highly of him and had my own life to live. I never stopped to ask myself if this random person I knew on the internet was indeed a narcissist, although the textbook red flags were there. This is going to sound laughable because it is, but I thought BSA was a peace-loving, hippie-esque person. This is what he pretends to be. This is his mask. I think its 20 of these were characteristics that I thought were admirable. I realize in retrospect how sad it is. It speaks volumes to my gullibility and codependence at that age. I thought BSA was a talented performance artist. At 20, I thought he was someone I could learn from. However, in the 16 years I've known him, I've grown in my own artistic abilities to the point where I'm not impressed with BSA and his sorry antics. I've been feeling this way for a while now, maybe for a year or so, but never revealed it, at least not intentionally. In retrospect, maybe BSA picked up on how unimpressed I was, and that fueled his need to discard me. BSA calls himself a playwright, an actor, and a musical composer, but I'm sure you've never heard of him. He doesn't sing, he doesn't play any musical instruments, unless you want to call a MIDI player a musical instrument. He claims to create musical orchestrations using a MIDI player and has what appears to be dozens of YouTube videos explaining how to use a MIDI player. He also has many YouTube videos where he pretends to be interviewed about a project he's working on. It's just him sitting in front of what appears to be a console talking into a camera. He appears to be answering questions, but it's just him talking. BSA makes these ridiculous videos for days like Easter and Mother's Day where he pretends to sing. Yes, he sounds terrible and accompanies himself with a MIDI player. He'd post these videos on Facebook, and in the name of being supported, I'd hit like again, and then maybe that just wasn't enthusiastic enough. In the 16 years of knowing him, I've never seen signs that BSA has had an honest job. Starting in 2014, he started a Kickstarter to raise money to put on a play. That sounds ridiculous as I type it out, but it's true. It's a play he wrote, directs, and there's only one part in the play. You guessed it, he plays that part. Although Kickstarter campaign began in 2014, I recall him tagging me on Facebook to a link to his Kickstarter as recently as a few months ago. And you know when you tag someone on Facebook, the link will appear on their timeline. I remember feeling embarrassed when the Kickstarter link appeared on my timeline. I don't know, it was just embarrassing to me to have someone asking for money for something I thought was silly. I gave BSA a sincere good luck and decided the next best thing to deleting the Kickstarter link from my timeline was to make a bunch of other posts to sort of bury it, so to speak. I don't know why, even at 36, I found it hard to stand my ground and stop playing the part of nice girl, and I didn't just want to delete the stupid link. I don't know why it didn't dawn on me earlier how full of shit this man is. Of course, I never gave him a dime. Recently, I started noticing BSA was making claims on his Facebook timelines that he had, unfortunately, been losing friends because they supported Trump. He recently made himself out to be the victim. His false persona is that of a tree-hugging, peace-loving hippie that he often refers to himself as a child of the 60s. So he complains on Facebook. So in his complaints on Facebook, he made it sound like people were being ugly to him and unfriending him. In another post, he claims friends he had known 40 years had gone ballistic on him, and he had to unfriend them. Well, if he's a tree-lugging liberal hippie pussy, okay, he probably goes on anybody who supports Trump's timeline and has his little fucking meltdowns. My opinion. BSA started issuing warnings on Facebook about having connections with people one didn't know in real life. He made it sound like he was being hounded, and many of his other Facebook friends gave the "you poor baby" replies I'm sure he was fishing for. In retrospect, because hindsight is 2020, BSA was watching my own timeline like a hawk. He became a frequent commenter and was almost always argumentative. I'm the kind of person that I guess you could describe as a moderate in every way, not only politically, if it makes sense. I never post anything on my Facebook that is racy, crass, or takes an extreme viewpoint. I like Facebook because it allows me to keep in touch with extended family, old acquaintances from college and high school, former coworkers and current coworkers. I strive not to offend anyone who's on my Facebook because it's not what I'm there to do. Again, you're explaining and explaining and explaining and explaining, and you have to stop doing this. This is your problem. You still haven't gotten to what he's done. You've done all this explaining, and you're going on and on and on, and I'm not picking on you here. I'm not picking on you here. But you're wasting a lot of time over-explaining things. I strive not to offend anyone who's on my Facebook because it's not what I'm here to do. I took someone really special, such as bullshit artist, to try to find things on my Facebook to get worked up about, or to pretend he was worked up about. The codependent in me took pride in diffusing BSA as if it were my job to diffuse baseless arguments made by ridiculous old men with obviously nothing better to do. I feel so dumb about this. We were in the middle of one of these baseless arguments when I jokingly said I was voting for Trump. Not that it being a joke makes a difference. As an American non-felon over the age of 18, I have a right to vote whoever I damn well please. This sarcastic joke gave BSA what he had been fishing for weeks, an excuse to fly into a narc rage and discard me, which I believe he did in the attached screenshot. What you got to understand is he's a failed playwright. He's a wannabe actor. He's a tree loving hit. He's a bum. He's a bum. And I'm sure he's collecting public benefits. I'm sure he is. And the reason he's so anti-Trump is because he's worried about his shit getting taken away from him. Bottom line. Bottom line. He's a bum and he's a loser. And I'm holding off on my comments till I get to the end because it's going to encapsulate all of this. I think he's also discarding people left and right so that there's less people to ask him how the one-man play is coming along and what he's exactly doing with the $4,500 he raised on Kickstarter. Yes, he raised that much. He has been mysteriously silent about the development of his play. BSA never posted to my Facebook again after the discard. He didn't unfriend me like he said he would. Maybe he was waiting for the fight he could actually cry about to his supporters. I didn't want to become yet another person he claimed had gone ballistic on him when that wasn't true. I tried to report the nasty comment to Facebook, but the report link was not working, either from my laptop or my smartphone. After a few days of hoping the report link would work, I deleted the comment. Feeling kind of hopeless, I sent BSA a private message. I didn't say anything in the private message that I would be ashamed to share, and take a screenshot of it if you like. Actually, I didn't say anything bad in the private message at all. I think at that point I was still thinking of BSA as the peace-loving hippie and was expecting some kind of apology. Of course, he ignored the PM he has done with me. I've been discarded. Still feeling hopeless and still not wanting to let go of the discard. Let the discard go. I copied his nasty post and pasted it onto his timeline. He was in the middle of calling a member of the GOP an asshat because he could not stand hate speech. I wrote, "Here's another example of hate speech," and pasted his own comment. He was up on his timeline a few hours but eventually was deleted moments before BSA blocked me for good. I was and still feel angry about the situation. I'm a copy editor for a living, and if I were to write something like that, like what BSA wrote on my timeline on Facebook or anywhere on social media, my bosses, a group of people that includes 2 editors and a publisher, would be made aware of it that same day. I could lose my job for something like that, and realizing that makes this whole situation seem even more unfair and intolerable. BSA answers to no one. His narc supply gives him money so he can pursue silly, childish hobbies. He's free to fly into a rage on Facebook and face no consequences. Above all else, I thought I was done with narc friends in this cycle of being bled dry and then discarded. You will likely not agree with what I did next, Ollie. I'm not sure I agree with it myself, really, but for the first time, I went to BSA's Kickstarter. I searched under his supporters, the people actually enough to give a 70-something-year-old money for bullshit play, and I matched as many supporters as I could with friends of BSA on his Facebook list. I wrote to these Kickstarter supporters. I was able to find on Facebook maybe 10 or 11 people I was able to link to BSA's Kickstarter. I sent them a note and, sounding as respectful as I could given the situation, explained who I was, why I was writing, and that I wanted to warn them as to what their money was actually supporting. In the Facebook message to them, I attached the screenshot I've attached here. I have a second Facebook account that has a different name from my given name. I know that sounds shady as fuck, but my intention when I first created that second account was to try out a name that I think I may adopt when I go no contact with my family of origin. I was so happy when I thought of this name, I wanted to see it in writing. It was with this second Facebook account that I witnessed BSA's reaction in the morning after I sent those messages to his supporters. He made 3 posts on his timeline with my first and last name in all caps, calling me crazy and asking others to report me. He claimed there was nothing he could do about me himself because I blocked him and changed my name on Facebook, which is a bold-faced lie. The supporters I had contacted could clearly see for themselves I have not changed my name. If any one of them cares to see past BSA's baloney. Many of BSA's friends came to his rescue, essentially licking his wounds, since he could not deny that he took a shit on my timeline because I had a screenshot to prove it. BSA actually boasted that he had lit me up for being a Trump supporter. Despite him calling on his flying monkeys to deal with me because he was incapable of doing so himself, no one has actually done anything to me or my Facebook. Just one woman who was a Kickstarter supporter that I sent a private message to. She was particularly nasty in her defense of BSA against me on BSA's timeline. A prime flying monkey. She sent me an equally nasty reply, or I think she tried to sound nasty. She may have been reeling in it because she knows what a screenshot is and that I know how to make them. She told me to stop being a mean girl trying to smear poor BSA. It's a textbook flying monkey defense. I sent her back again, as respectful as I could sound, a response stating that I could not deal with BSA directly since he had blocked me, and that my warning stands. The moment BSA no longer needs her, he'll discard her too. I didn't hear from her again. As I said before, I'm still angry about this whole ordeal, Ollie. I may have made my own anger worse by even reacting to it. Like maybe I would have forgotten about it by now if I had simply deleted the comment, blocked BSA, and gotten on with my life. Sure, I'm getting on with my life, but I'm pissed off. Any advice would be helpful, even if it's harsh. I wouldn't say I'm proud of what I've done or how I've handled the situation. I realize there's no way to win with a narcissist aside from staying the hell away from them and not play their game. Also, in case you need more info and to be transparent about, this is possible. I have screenshots of pretty much everything. The message I sent to the Kickstarter reporters, the shit BSA posted about me on his own timeline where he called his flying monkeys for help. I could give you my full name and BSA's name so you could look us up on Facebook. I'm not trying to drag you into this mess. Continue the fight on Facebook. Finally, I will send more stories of my life that are closer to what is normally discussed on your channel, hopefully in the coming weeks. I hope the contribution is a blessing that you and your wife are doing much better. I truly hope you are blessed and you bless others. Thank you, Anonymous. What are you doing? You're getting into a Facebook fight with a 70-year-old man? This is the post that started it all. Yours is the most distressing news. This is what he posted. Yours is the most distressing news I have had today. You're going to vote for making abortion illegal, punishing women who have them, misogyny, abolishing same-sex marriage, and blazing racism, xenophobia, extreme nationalism, anti-unionism, not ruling out using nuclear weapons, sanctioning illegal torture, and many other completely anti-American plans from someone totally unqualified, who proves every day he has no idea what he's talking about, whose career has been based on by being a shyster, a con man. You've actually been watching this monstrosity the last year and inspires you to vote for him. That's how little you think of your country. Then the hell with you. I'll leave this up long enough for you to have a chance to see it before I kick your disgusting, stupid ass off my friends list. How could you possibly give the label friend to anyone so willing to destroy our country? And you were actually a hair person. Didn't learn anything from that experience. God, I'm so disgusted. I have zero tolerance for the orange one or anyone who supports him. Well, you know how many times I get that message on my Facebook timeline every day? This is politics. This is what they do. This is what liberal narcissistic babies do who don't want to work for a living. This is what they do. They go on Facebook. But my question to you is, why are you investing so much time into somebody you don't even know or never met? This is the problem with the internet. Your internet relationships aren't real. These Facebook relationships of people you don't know, they're not real. And I see people go down these rabbit holes where they're having these relationships and there's crying and there's fighting and they're coming to you. And it's like, well, when you go and talk to her, it's like, oh, well, I never met her. She's all online. It's like, get out of my face. Get out of my face with this shit. And I'm not telling you to get out of my face. But this isn't real. Is he a narcissist? Clearly. Clearly he's a narcissistic baby. But I can't believe a copy editor is taking the time, and don't feel bad, and I'm going to tell you something because you're not the only author or editor or copy editor who's written to me or follows me, and I'm going to tell you guys all the same thing. You all go on too much. All of you get caught up with being, it seems like the accountability thing, it's like you can't say it, so why does he get to say it? Well, this is the new form of media as well. As much as you can't have interpersonal relationships, like these deep-seated relationships, if you don't stop it right now, get down. Driving me crazy. Just like, look, on one end, you can't have these interpersonal relationships where you're having these fights that are lasting for months. It's bothering for you months from somebody who lives on the Pacific Northwest, 70-year-old man, over some nasty political posts. But the other thing, you're going to have to accept that there is a new media out there and there's different rules and the rules are changing. And you're going to have to differentiate a lunatic on Kickstarter, okay, in the woods of the Pacific Northwest to a legitimate news site. But you guys all seem to over-explain everything on and on and on and on and on. You're not writing a newspaper story here. And I think that might be part of your problem, that, well, he can't write. Just because it's written, okay, doesn't mean it holds journalistic standards. Do you understand? It's Facebook. You're mixing in your interpersonal relationship and still trying to mix in your journalistic standards into it. That's never going to work. That's never going to work. And you're putting in far too much effort into somebody you never met. Go look at my timeline on my Facebook. Go look at the people that tell me they're unsubscribing. What an asshole and misogynist I am because I'm supporting Trump. It's the way it is. To get this upset about it isn't healthy. This should be so far out of your mind. This is a guy on Facebook that you don't even know. 16 years. I mean, it's some kind of online, like, it's kind of silly at this point. What you need to get into is what brought you down this road. Why you feel the need to over-explain everything. Why you feel the need to invalidate yourself before you even get started. Because that's what all this gobbledygook, for lack of, even though it's very well structured, very well written, it's on and it's over-explaining things that didn't need to be explained. Okay? And in over-explaining, you actually then try to invalidate yourself as you over-explain everything. Your problem isn't this guy. It never was. You have to snap out of this. This isn't real. That relationship, whatever it was, wasn't real. What you need to be getting into is what drove you down this path to begin with. What got you to this point to begin with. You're fixing the windshield on a car with no motor again. You got to start at the root cause. And you can't start narcissistic recovery in the middle. You have to get back to the beginning. Otherwise, this is going to make no sense to you whatsoever. It just won't matter. So, thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. I'm sorry, I keep getting distracted. Please leave any opinions or comments in the comments section below. And please remember, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a narcissist you'd like to expose or a topic you'd like me to cover, you know what to do with the PayPal and my email link in the description box. And remember, when you do send me your story, please put at the top of the email whether it's with or without contribution and what name you'd like to go by. Zolly Matthews, thanks for watching. See you all again soon.